Hey crafters, come check out 5 of my favorite Christmas DIYs using Dollar Tree wood rounds and reed forms. You won't want to miss these fun transformations. Let's dive in.
Hi, I'm Loli, and I'm so glad you are here.
Hello my friends, this is Loli. Welcome. Today we'll be showing you 3 beautiful winter decor DIYs using mostly Dollar Tree products. Let's get started. For this project, I'm going to use this round from Dollar Tree and I'm going to paint it with my Rust-Oleum Linen White chalk paint. Next, I'll be using this ornament that I got this year from Dollar Tree. We're going to remove the cord that comes on the top of it, and we're also going to remove the little loop, and we're going to do that later on in the video. For now, I'm just going to position it right where I want it. Then I'm going to take this variety of different picks from Dollar Tree and Walmart. Pretty much all of them at Dollar Tree besides that white one, but the one that has the most snow. Then I'm going to use these different picks here. I decided that this was too much greenery, so I ended up using 1 pick of each. And I cut each pick into individual pieces. Then I'm going to just arrange these on each side of the round, bending my picks in a circular motion as you see there, so everything goes in the same direction as the wood round. So here I'm just positioning everything where I think will look nice and just keep working with it until I'm happy with the vision. And once I get to that vision, then I will be gluing it on. This pick here was a little bit harder to work with. It has 3 different pieces. I just kept playing with it until I liked the placement. And I'm going to place these right here at the top. Now that I'm happy with the placement, I'm going to just go ahead and glue the little trunks of it onto the wood round. I'm going to hold them in place until they set. The last piece that I placed on the top was not as long to go with the other one. So here I'm just going and arranging it one more time. And then I'm going to place it in the back and look for it in the back of the other flowers. And then add a little bit of hot glue in the bottom trunk of this one to secure it in place. And I repeated this process with the other side. Once these were ready, I decided, you know what, I need some more. So I took this leftover pick. This is the pick that I got from Walmart. And I'm going to cut it into pieces and add it in the top section. I wanted to give this a little bit more height, but I thought that the side over here was a little more bare than I wanted. So I added it here. Unfortunately, one side had 2 pieces to it and one had 1. So I took a piece from a new pick and added it there instead. Now it's time to add the little church. I just added a little bit of hot glue in the 2 corners of it. I'm sorry that I'm out of frame here. And I just positioned them in that space where I had left it before. Then I took these ornaments from Dollar Tree. I removed the cord that it came with it. And I'm going to add them on each side of the church. I'm going to put them towards the back. And then I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue to the bottom portion of the trunk of the tree and glue them on. I did that by positioning the round right on top of that glue. But I'm not done yet. I decided that I needed to cover up the section there where the trunks were, so I added 2 of the pieces of this white pick that I got from Walmart. I cut it as short as I could and I glued it right over the trunks to make it look more finished. If you enjoyed this video so far, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and comment and let me know what you think of this project. And make sure that you share because sharing is caring and it helps my channel grow. Alright, so here I am just filling in any portion that I felt were a little bit scarce with a variety of different picks. I am using this light greenery with some sparkles here and there where I see that there's more green than that just to even it out and make it look more balanced. Friends, I would love to know where you're watching from. If you can please leave in the comments where you're watching from. I would like to know how far are my videos touching people. That sounds wrong, but what I mean is I would like to know like how many people interact with my videos and where they're located. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So leave me a comment in the comment section. Let me know where you're watching from. Thank you. All right, so as you see here, I'm just taking different picks and just placing pieces of it here and there just to fill it in. Here I wanted to add a little bit of a wispy edge, so I decided to use those little pieces of fern at the end there, and I'm gluing them on the back using a little bit of hot glue on the ridge of them. And this pretty much ends this one. Let me know in the comments what you think. For this project, I'll be using one of these wood rounds from Dollar Tree. I'm going to remove this hanger, and then I'm going to take some antiques wax from Waverly and a reusable white from Dollar Tree and spread my wax all over the entire front side of the wood round. I just kept going over it until I got to the desired shade that I wanted. Now I'm going to take this plate that I got from Temu, and I'm going to take some of my E6000 and put it on different areas of the entire backend. And then I'm going to come in with some of my Tide Bond Quick and Thick and put it also in other areas so it has a quicker bond. This one dries in about 15 minutes. I did not use hot glue because hot glue and metal do not like each other. The hot glue dries so quickly that I will not have enough time to position this in place, and instead it will end up raised. Once I made sure that it was straight, we're going to press it down and let it sit for 15 minutes. Then I took this Wreath form that I got from Dollar Tree. They're all beads and they are kind of loose. So I took some of my Tide Bond Quick and Thick and I'm adding it to the top section of the beads, but I'm making sure that I'm not moving the beads as I'm applying the glue. Once that is set, I'm going to go ahead and flip it over. Again, being very careful that as I'm lifting, my beads are not shifting. So all my glue will still stay in the bottom, and then I'm going to press it down to the center of my root round. Now we are going to embellish this a little bit further. I'm going to take some of these pine pieces from Dollar Tree and I'm going to use 2 of them. I will be cutting off the wire section off of each one of them. And then I'm going to just butt them slightly on top of each other as you see there. Then I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue on top of one right here and press the other one against it. Hold it there together in place until both pieces fuse together. Now I'm going to take this piece of wire that I cut off from the bottom of one of these, and I'm going to just twist it around the hole that's in the beaded garland and onto the pine pieces just to secure it in place to that piece. And then we are going to go ahead and take my needle nose pliers here just to make sure that that has a very nice and tight adhesion. The pine pieces were starting to droop, so I want to make sure that this stayed nicely in place. So I added a little bit of hot glue on the bead that the pine piece was falling on top of and then pressed the pine piece onto it until it dried. Then I took some of this ribbon that I got from Michael's. I think I got this from a grab bag. And I'm going to create a small bow. I'm just going to fold it as you see there, cut off my excess ribbon, and then I'm going to take a piece of thread that I got from some burlap that I used for a previous DIY. And I'm going to use that little thread to tie my bow right here in the middle after I cinch the middle. I'm going to just do a double knot on the back of it, cut off the excess thread, and then glue my bow to the middle of the greenery. Friend, if you are enjoying this video so far, please don't forget to hit that like button and let me know in the comment section where you're watching from. I'd love to know how far my videos are reaching. Thank you so much. All right, next we're going to take these 2 golden eucalyptus pieces that I got left over from a DIY I did for my daughter's Sweet 16, and we're going to stick it right here behind the bow, one on each side. Then I threaded some beads that I had from Walmart into the same jute cord that came in the hanger. I put 2 light beads in one side, then a darker one in the middle, and I did that pattern until I had about, I will say about 15 beads. Actually 11 beads. And we're going to just go ahead and tie this back onto our wood round. And that is it for this one. Let me know in the comment section what do you think about this project. If you enjoy it, make sure to share because sharing is caring. And it helps my channel grow. Thank you so much. these wood rounds from Dollar Tree along with this MDF circle as well, and the stickers you see there. First thing that I did was paint that ring with black and the wood round in white. And I covered both with a coat of Mod Podge to protect them. Then I'm going to use these stickers that I got at Dollar Tree yesterday. I haven't seen them before, and I'm going to put them at the center of my wood round. I have to say these are really sticky and very good quality. So here I'm just making sure that I am square with the holes, so making sure that this strip will be nice and straight. And then I just kept adding it in small sections as I was removing the backing from it to avoid any kind of bubbling or any wrinkling. One sheet was not enough to cover the whole section, so I just took another one, and I'm trying to figure out exactly the best way to match it so it looks as seamless as possible. And then once I got to that edge, I'm going to remove the back end off of that edge and try to match them together as best as I can on the edges, and then remove that back end and then cut off the excess. Then I cut off the excess with scissors and finish it off with a nail file. Now we are ready to put this together. I took one of these wooden home signs from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to add some of my Tide Bond Thick and Quick to the back of it. And place this word to the middle of the stickers. Now it's time to attach the circle onto the wood round. And to do that, I'm going to use some Tide Bond Quick and Thick. And I'm just going to spread it just using my fingers. This is to avoid any excess from seeping through the sides. And I prefer to use the Quick and Thick because it gives me a little bit more time to maneuver this and make sure that everything is properly centered. Whenever I use these rings, I always put the hanger on first. Here, I totally forgot. So I'm just going to use the leftover beads that I had from a garland I used earlier. And I'm going to go ahead and thread it through the holes there and create my hanger really quickly. I don't want the Tide Bond to dry quite yet. So as soon as I finish that hanger, I'm going to place this right on top of it. And this is the reason why I did that first, because otherwise you will be having that jute cord over the ring, and I prefer to have it in front instead. Then I use some of these pink clamps from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to clamp them in specific areas to keep everything down until that glue sets. I found some areas in which the glue was not quite enough, so I am adding a little bit more there, being careful to not add too much, and then I position my clamps. But I'm impatient and I need to finish this project, so we are going to continue this project while the clamps are still on. I'm going to use the leftover pieces that I had from the previous DIY to add to this as well. I'm just going to cascade it to the side as you see there. And I'm going to add a nice little amount of hot glue right there where my finger is to position these right there. I'm going to hold them in place until the hot glue sets. Then I'm going to take some of this black ribbon that I got at Dollar Tree from the Halloween section. I'm going to create a 2-loop bow. I'm just going to crisscross it as you see there, then loop it to the top, go over it, hold it in the middle once the two sides are the same size, and then I'm going to loop it again to the opposite side, bringing it back to create the tail at the end. I'm going to cut off that excess piece, and then we are going to take a piece of jute cord, and once I scrunch that bow in the middle, I will tie it with the jute cord. Once I tied it, then I'm going to cut off the excess twine. I dovetail the ends, which means just folding the ribbon vertically and then cutting a triangle going upward. Next, I added a nice amount of hot glue to the back of the bow and placed it where the glued pieces of greenery or goldery, I guess, in this case, is also attached to the round. Then I took this golden bead that I had for the previous DIY and using my miter shears, I'm going to cut it in half and then glue one of those half right there to the middle of the bow to hide the jute cord. And to keep the pick from covering the word home, I'm just going to tack it with a little bit of hot glue onto the frame right here. And that is it for this one. Let me know in the comments, what do you think of this one?
My friend, today's video is part of the Wood Round or Read Wednesday that is hosted on the fourth Wednesday of every month by my friend Aurea from DIY with Aurea, myself Loli from lolidscreations. And this month we are doing a showcase of our favorite DIYs using wood rounds or reed forms. There is an entire playlist of inspiration, so make sure that you hit the link in the description box below and show everyone some love. Thank you.
For this one, I'm using a reindeer cutout from Dollar Tree and a wood round, and I painted in both white with Rust-Oleum and a white chalk paint. Next, I took one of these napkins that I found at TJ Maxx, and I'm going to open it completely. I love the fact that this napkin has a print on all sides. We are going to first start by taking a piece of parchment paper and then just ironing out all those lines that it had from being so folded. Once I was done doing that, I'm going to remove one of the plies. It actually has two plies. I did not realize it right away. So I'm going to go ahead and now take some Mod Podge and completely cover the front section of my wood round, making sure to pay close attention to my edges and every little square inch of this, because we want to make sure that our napkin adheres correctly to the entire wood round. And I put it aside to dry. In the meantime, we're going to work on our deer head. Next, I took some chestnut from Apple Barrel, and I'm going to paint both antlers with that color. I ended up doing a total of 2 coats on each antler, and I'm going to let it completely dry. Next, I'm going to take the napkin and remove that second ply. Now the Mod Podge is already dry, so it's time to adhere our napkin to the wood round using the iron-on method. I'm going to lay my napkin exactly how I want it to fall on my wood round, add a piece of parchment paper over it, and with my heat pressed in high, I'm going to go ahead and smooth this onto the surface. What happens is the heat reactivates that Mod Podge and makes the napkin adhere to the wood round, nice and smooth, no wrinkles. This is my favorite way of Mod Podging, or decoupaging, I should say. So if you have not tried it yet, go ahead and do it, and I can guarantee you, you will love it. Look how gorgeous and smooth that is. Now we're going to take my zip sander. You can use an emery board, or you can use a sanding block and just sand off in a downward motion all of the edges to remove the excess napkin from the edges. And look how clean those edges are. Next, we are going to protect the surface with some Mod Podge. I will be using some Mod Podge Multi from Plaid. And I'm adding it in small sections using my pen brush. I'm trying to not saturate the napkin because I don't want to create any bubbles. So I'm going in small sections, adding a thin layer of Mod Podge until I completely cover the entire wood round. And I ended up waiting until the first layer dried, and then I applied a second layer. I put it to the side to dry, and now we're going to work on our deer head. I'm going to take this folk art paint and paint that face portion. Then I'm going to take some burnt amber, and I'm adding a little bit there to my table. I'm going to dry brush this onto the antlers. I'm going to be adding it in small increments onto this. I was not sure exactly how dark I wanted my antlers to be, but I did know that I wanted the variation in 2 different colors to go through, so it would look like it has a little bit more dimension. And I just kept building and building with that burnt amber until I got to my desired amount, and here it is. Next, I took this permanent jot marker from Dollar Tree, and I'm passing it on all of the edges of the entire wood cutout. I did not like how the white just showed like that, and there was some areas in where you can see the other paints. I wanted this to be finished well and something that I will be proud to put in my website to sell. So I did that on the entire cutout. Then I took the same burnt amber, and I'm going to paint the nose of my reindeer with it. I did a total of 2 coats with this paint. Now it's time to give him some eyes. For that, I'm going to use this paint marker that I got from Dollar Tree some years back. I have not seen it in a long time, But if you're interested in getting something like this, Walmart is carrying them in the apple barrel line. So I'm going to do 2 little egg shapes as you see there. I started small because you can always go bigger, and that's what I did here. I started building on it and expanding it as I was going, because you can always go bigger, but you can go smaller. So I did the oval as you see there, filled it in. And as you see, the other one was a little bit bigger, so I'm expanding this one as well. And I'm looking at the one on the right to try to make it as equal as the one on the left. So I'm just expanding it on sides that I need to, and then filled in the middle completely. Then I decided, you know what, let's make it a little bit bigger here. And I did not like the shape of the other one. So here I'm trying to make it a little bit more even. Me and my symmetry. I don't know. Are you like this? Do you are so anal retentive about details? I drive myself crazy. Anyway, then I took the white version of the same pen and I'm just adding highlights to the eyes, just a dot here and a little line here on the sides, just to give it a little beautiful shine to the eyes. Then I'm going to take this reindeer nose from Dollar Tree that lights up. I thought this would be the perfect add-on for this. I'm going to just cut off that elastic that it comes with. And I was thinking I would paint it, gluing it on with some E6000, but the battery portion is on that bottom section. So we're gonna have to add some hot glue. But first, I'm going to take some UHU glue and some hot glue and attach my reindeer head to my wood round that I had decoupaged. The UHU is for that permanent hold, and the hot glue is for that immediate hold. Do your permanent first and your hot glue last, so you have less time for that hot glue to dry before you can reposition it. I position it as you see right there, using the antlers to cover up the holes from the wood round. And then I'm reinforcing the antler section here with a little bit more hot glue and pressing it in place until that dried. Now we are going to attach our beautiful nose. And to do that, I'm just using some hot glue. As I said before, we cannot make it permanent because if we need to change our battery, then we're in trouble. So we're going to add it right there onto the nose. Look how cute. Oh my goodness. I thought this needed a little bit of dimension. So I took some of my Waverly Antique wax and I'm going to start distressing the ends. I started light because again, you can always add more, but you can't take off. And I kept going at it until it had the perfect shade and my heart and my eyes and everything was happy. And what I had left over in the brush, I just distressed the inside, but it was very light just to make everything nice and cohesive. And I added eyebrows and some eyelashes. Sorry, I lost the footage for that. All right, now we are going to add the inside of the ear here, like the flesh portion. I went with the light pink ballet slipper from Waverly. I thought this was like the closest shade that will tie together the paper that I decoupage on the wood round and also bring a little bit of light to the reindeer hair. So I'm just trying to follow the contour of the ear to just paint in the inside of the ear. To have this paint glide and cover the way that I wanted, like a blush finish, I just dip my brush in some water and I mix it with the paint there to create that shade. And I did the same thing with the other side. With the leftover paint, I'm going to just go ahead and add some blush to the cheeks on each side of the reindeer. And look how cute that's looking. But I'm not done yet. I'm going to add some of this greenery. I got this last year from Walmart. And I'm so glad I did. I looked for it this year and I could not find it. I should have gotten more. But well, what are we going to do? I took 2 pieces and I'm going to glue them right here onto the antlers. I used the edge of the antlers as a guide of exactly where I should position each piece so it will be symmetrical. Then I took this ribbon from Dollar Tree. I created a bow with it and added that bow in between the 2 pieces of greenery to bridge that gap right there at the center. Then I took another piece from the same ribbon and I threaded it through the holes of the antlers. First, I folded the piece of ribbon like you see there, added a little bit of hot glue onto the end so it will stay in place. And that way I was able to feed the edge of the ribbon right in through that hole. Then I created a nut on each end, and what I did to this side, I did to the other one, and we ended up with this beautiful hanger. Let me know in the comment section, what do you think about this project? I am so in love with this one. What do you think? I'm going to take one of these table runners from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to remove the packaging and cut off those edges that are triangular. And then I cut the rest of the runner into strips that are about 3 inches in width. Then I'm going to take them and I'm going to start wrapping it around the entire reed form. I add a little bit of hot glue at the end and folded it as you see right there, and then just wrap this completely until the entire reed form was covered. At first I did it as you see there, but then I got smarter, guys. I folded the rest of my table runner into 4, and then I clipped them with those clips from Dollar Tree, and then I cut it this way. It was so much quicker. So if you recreate this piece, go ahead and fold your whole thing like this, and it cuts like butter, and you save yourself a lot of time. All right, then I had everything covered as you see here. I'm going to use these ornaments from Dollar Tree. I'm starting with these 2 packages of green, but first I wanted to create like a little hanger at the middle over here. Before I added any of these balls to this, I wanted to make sure that I had that in place. So this is just a ribbon that I got from Dollar Tree last year, and I'm just gluing it over, as you see there, gluing it with a little bit of hot glue onto itself. And I'm going to leave an amount there that is long enough to wrap up again. So as you see right here, you see the amount I left there. I'm not sure in measurements how much that is, but I repeated that twice. And now we are going to add the ornaments. So here I'm trying to keep a pattern so everything is symmetrical. I decided to use these non-glitter balls first, and I put them on all 4 corners of my reed form. And then I decided to take the ones that were glittery and put them in between of the other 2, but going towards the outer section of the reed form. I made sure to put a nice amount of hot glue, angle it, and hold it in place till it dried. And then I repeated the same thing with the other side, and this is what it looked like. Now we are going to add some red balls to this. So I'm just going to try to, do a pattern as well. I'm also trying to do it in a way that I have the most surface area to make sure that my balls are nicely adhered. That sounded weird, but anyway. So I'm adding the red balls in between the green, just trying to create a pattern and trying to have it nice and uniform. So what I do to one side, I do to the other. So here, guys, I'm adding my biggest ornaments first. And then as you see, as I progress on this project, I'll be going smaller in size with the ornaments. But these are my base ornaments. So now here I'm using one size smaller, and I'm coming in with the gold color, and I'm trying to create like little clusters of the 3 colors wherever possible. And as I said before, I'm just trying to keep the same pattern on both sides of the wreath, so everything looks nice and symmetrical. Here I'm adding some to the bottom as well, here in the gold color. As I said, trying to keep it nicely balanced on both sides. And I was getting impatient, as you see there, so I'm just gluing as I go along. While I hold one, I'm gluing the other, and I'm just going back and forth that way. I just wanted to make sure that the balls stayed nicely attached and it didn't, roll away as I was adding another ball. And I just kept doing this with different colors. Now I'm going to use this packet from Dollar Tree. By the way, all of these ornaments came from Dollar Tree. The reed form came from Dollar Tree. The table runner, everything came from Dollar Tree in this wreath. So I'm just adding red wherever I see that there's a lot of green and gold. I'm just adding red, and I'm trying to keep the patterns the same. Like if I use one that is glittery, I will use glitter for the other side as well. Just want to be uniform throughout so everything looks beautiful. So here I'm just adding some of the gold in between. Here I felt like I wanted to do red, but I didn't have one that was able to put on the other side as well. So I went over and then put gold in the bottom instead and between the other two that you see there. And here I am using the smaller balls also to fill in any spaces that look pretty bare. And I'm going to continue to do this with different packages of ornaments on different sizes. Each time I do a round, this one happens to be the same size as the one that I just used, but I felt like I needed to have some more red on this. So I'm adding this package here and there, just filling in those empty spaces that are larger until I can no longer fit any ornaments on here of that size. Friend, if you enjoyed this video so far, don't forget to hit that like button, comment, let me know what you liked about the video, what you will do differently, and share it with someone who will enjoy it as well. It truly helps my channel grow and I appreciate it so much. All right, so here you see that I'm adding even a smaller size. So I'm going in and at this point I am filling in any spaces that are bare and you can still see the table runner. So I'm just organizing my balls here, or my ornaments I should say here, and different areas just to see where they fit, and then I'm going to come back in and position them. So I'm just playing with it, just making sure that the placement is nice, that I have a nice balance in between the three different colors I should say. And then once I was satisfied, I am adding in the pieces. So here I'm just adding them in, and now it's time to glue everything back in place. So I kept doing that until every hole that could fit one of those smaller ornaments was covered. I had no more green, so I'm going to add some of this gold and red in here as well, because I did have some holes that I still wanted to cover. I didn't want the top sections of the ornaments to be showing in between when I'm gluing them, so I wanted to fill in those areas. So I did that until that was completely covered. And be careful, don't burn yourself like I just did. It hurt so bad. So here I'm just adding them, as you see there, in between, trying to figure out, okay, what size am I going to fit? At this point, I'm just taking from whatever size I need to cover the hole that needs to be covered. So here I'm using one from the previous pack that I had opened. I believe I used a total of 7 packs, if I'm not mistaken. And here I'm coming in with the smallest ornaments. These are the ones you use for the mini trees. And these also came from the Dollar Tree. Now that every little hole is covered, I'm going to go ahead and flip this over and position a hanger in the back of this. So what I did is I took a piece from the same, what do you call it again? The table runner that we got in the beginning, and I just rolled it into itself. I folded it 3 times to create that strip as you see there. Then I'm taking a piece of the same fabric and putting it on the edges just to reinforce it a little bit more to make sure that that hanger stays in place. And I repeated the same thing with the other side. Now comes the funnest part. We are going to create a little swing here. So I took this plank that I got from Dollar Tree as well. This comes in a pack of 4 or 6 or something like that. I just trimmed about 2 inches off of one side. And here I'm just gluing it, trying to make sure that this is nicely balanced on the same level. And I used the pins to keep them in place while I glued it, so everything stayed put and I did not have to deal with trying to balance it again. So I'm just adding some hot glue, keeping it there. And then what I'm going to do once that is positioned, I'm going to see exactly how far up it needs to go to make sure again that this is nicely balanced. And I'm using a clip to keep it in place as well. I did that with both sides. And then I'm going to come back in with some hot glue. I am adding hot glue to the piece of ribbon that is against the table counter there, the table surface. And then taking the other piece and gluing it right onto the other one. And I did that until it was all the way to the top, and this was nicely dry. Once it dried, I'm removing those clips, and we are going to take this beautiful gnome that I got from Dollar Tree. We're going to remove that tag. Make sure you cut your tag. If you pull it off, you are going to mess up the hat. So just cut off one end, easy like that, and then pull it from the other side. And let's remove this tag off the butt as well. So once I did that, here, cut it off, because if you pull it, you're going to tear it off too. So I want her to sit nice and comfortable, so I'm going to put some heat to her butt. I'm going to put a nice amount of hot glue on the back there, making sure to lift the legs and the skirt so it doesn't get glued on, and then position it right into the plank. Then once I got it to the plank, we are going to take our little hands that she has And I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue on the back side of her hands, and I'm going to glue it onto this swing. Here I was going back and forth of whether I should put the hands like upper or higher up onto the swing so it looks like she's holding on to the chains of a swing, but I didn't like how it looked, so I just opted to do it this way. Now we're going to add some to the head, and then we're going to position it right onto that ball that happened to be right there to support her. And we're just reinforcing with some more hot glue, and she is done. Tell me, what do you think? I love this one. I think it's my favorite from the pack. You let me know what you think. My friend, as always, thank you so much for watching. Be blessed, be a blessing, and craft responsibly. And if you enjoyed today's content, here is some more videos you are sure to enjoy. Thank you again so much for watching. You're amazing. Bye.